Mankind knew that they cannot change society, so instead of reflecting on themselves, they blamed the feet. Thankfully, there's nothing wrong with them. As a matter of fact, feet can be a driving force. I mean, because of them, we went from this to this in the short span of 13 years. What I want to do today is to see how much of a presence do feet actually have in these games. And to do that, I want to try and count every single foot. What that means is, I will look at every single character, be it friend or foe, see whether or not they have feet, and then look at how many feet they actually have. Some of them might only have 1, some might have 8, and some, well, some might not have any whatsoever. There's of course gonna be some enemies that only have legs to stand on, but no actual feet to show. Things like the mushroom men, the plants, and the scarecrows, and certain bugs. Before we get into the mob count, let's start off by actually mentioning NPCs and bosses, so we get them out of the way first. You might be wondering why some characters are not appearing on the list. Some notable ones might be Gwendolyn, Anastasia, or the Primordial Serpents. I couldn't add them because they never really show any feet in the first place, so I am sorry, they are disqualified. The same can be said about Quelaag and the Fair Lady. The reason why I haven't mentioned them is because, well, technically speaking, spiders do have feet. It's called a tarsus. But we cannot really see that on Quelaag and her sister, and because of that I decided to not include them. Hey, if you want to count them in, go ahead. On the topic of bosses, I do want to make 2 very interesting mentions. Number 1, the 4 Kings. There's actually 5 of them. If you wait long enough, a 5th one is gonna spawn. And because of that, technically speaking, there are a total of 10 feet that appear in the fight. And besides that, we also have Gravelord Nito. Up until recently, I never noticed this myself, but when Nito dies, he loses his robe, and after that you can actually see his feet for a moment. Not just that, but he has a bunch of corpses hanging on him. Either way, there's a total of 10 feet on him. 2 of his own, and 8 that hang on his body. Pretty wild stuff, isn't it? Anyway, before I move on to the areas, I also want to mention a couple of other enemies that do not respawn. 6 Black Knights, 25 Crystal Lizards, 9 Mimics, 8 Titanite Demons. And of course, let's not forget about the Channelers, 6 in total. And now, let's move on to the areas. So, the Undead Asylum. First of all, we have 9 hollows here, but when you return, you're gonna have another 7 in total. 4 with torches, 2 with swords, and 1 with a shield, making it a total of 16. Next up, the Fireling Shrine and the Undead Burg. I decided to count these 2 together, also with the Undead Parish. It just was much easier for me to do, but in total, across these areas we have 76 hollows, 7 Boulder Knights, 1 Boar, 1 Baranic Knight, 4 Rats, and 10 Skeletons. But next up, let's go into the lower Undead Burg and the depths. I hate this area, by the way, I just wanted to say it. Anyway, you're gonna see 9 dogs, 12 Torch Hollows, 8 Thieves, 1 Hollow Archer, 8 regular Hollows, 2 Butchers, 1 Big Rat, 20 smaller rats, 3 medium-sized rats, and of course everyone's favorite, 10 basilisks. I hate these guys. Anyway, moving on. New Londo. So, this area is very interesting because you have a bunch of ghosts, but none of them actually have feet, so we don't have to worry about them. That said, we do have quite a few hollows here. In total, 15. Next up comes Blight Town, and oh boy, We have 7 club giants, 21 goblins. I actually don't know what they are called, but I'm just gonna call them goblins because they kind of look like one. You also have the fire dogs, and there's gonna be 11 in total. And if that's not enough, we also have the blow dart snipers, 8 in total. I hate those guys. Anyway, you also have a total of 5 dung flingers. Same situation as the goblins, I am not sure what to call them. Dung flinger seems like an appropriate name. And right before Quailag, you have 2 of these egg people. And now that you are done with the Bell of Awakening, it's time for Sans Funhouse. So, first of all, you're gonna have to deal with 8 lizard men, 8 lizard casters, 3 giants, 1 snake at the wall, and yes, I know, I wanted to give this guy a separate mention. He's just cool like that. You also have 1 Baronic Knight, 2 Baller Knights, and last but not least, 1 crossbow wielding hollow. Anyway, after that, it's time for the best area, and Londo. So for starters, you're gonna have 14 Silver Knights, you're gonna have 2 Royal Giants, you're gonna have 8 regular Giants, you're gonna have the 2 Archers, yes, I wanted to give them a separate mention too. You're gonna have a total of 8 Lightning Bats, you're gonna have 2 more Gargoyles, and most importantly, you're gonna have a total of 16 Painting Guardians. I should also mention that Gwendolyn will summon 2 guards when you kill Guinevere. And if you do the questline of Lautrec, he's gonna summon 2 more NPCs besides him. Next up, it's time for the Painted World. So, first of all we have 24 hollows, followed up by 10 bloated hollows, 2 torch hollows, 8 bird people. One of them is unkillable, as far as I know, but I still want to consider it part of the crew. We have 9 bone wheels, we have 11 white rats, 2 undead dragons, and 1 Baronic Knight. Next up, into the Duke's Archives. We have 2 boars, the 1 golem outside, the crystal armor dude on the way to Seed. We have 42 crystal dudes, we have 6 snake men, 5 of them are the ones with the sword and shield, the other one is a caster. We have 10 golems, and if we consider the crystal caves as well, we have another regular golem and 2 yellow golems. After that, we are going straight to Darkroot Garden. We have 5 stingrays, we have 6 stone guardians, 2 snake creatures, 4 golems, 5 different forest hunters, and we have 3 more cats, like Alvina. After that, it's time for the Valley of the Drakes and the dark part of New Londo Ruins. We have 6 drakes, 1 zombie dragon, and 12 dark raids. Moving on to the Demon Ruins and Lost Isolate. We have 13 X-Hacks, we have 10 Taurus demons, and 7 Capra demons. Can you guess how many undead dragons we have? That's right, 29. Next up, Catacombs time. 44 skeletons, 7 bone wheels, and 4 necromancers. But I do love the Tomb of the Giants, even though it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but anyway. 9 giant skeletons, 4 archer skeletons, 6 giant skeletons near the large divine ember. I wanted to give them a separate mention. I always had a bad time with these guys, but I did get this cool clip. I had to do it.
My guiding moonlight.
We have 7 giant dog skeletons, we have 10 baby skeletons, and we have 4 skeletons in Nito's room. 1 big, 3 small. Last but not least, we have the Great Hollow. 12 basilisks and 1 everlasting dragon. No more feet. Next up, it's time for the DLC. I have to admit, I haven't really done the DLC all that often. I think I only played through it like 2 or 3 times, so I hope I didn't miss anybody. But we have 3 Sanctuary Guardians, one that you fight as a boss, and the 2 other that you can fight after the boss. We have a total of 7 Stone Guardians, we have 31 Blob Heads, and we have 12 Casters. Besides that, we cannot forget the dogs, of course. There's gonna be a total of 5 of them. And on the way to Manus, you're gonna see 3 spirits of Elvina and 1 spirit of Sif. And now, all we are left with is the kiln of the first flame. 5 Black Knights, 10 feet. Adding all of these together, we are gonna have a grand total of 2126. If you are disappointed in yourself for having watched this, trust me, I am just as disappointed in myself for having made it. So I suppose that kind of balances itself out. In any case, thank you very much for watching, I hope you had a good time, and I will see you again soon. Take care everybody.
You may rest here too, if you like.